this is my 5 weight, and it's going to be under Eagles team total. So what do we got for the Eagles team total?
We got 20, what did we say here?
4.5?
We got 24.5 under.
Oh, I love it. Under.
What's our VIG?
Pull that up.
Normal, right? Minus 110.
Normal, under 24.5, minus 105.
Excellent.
Reduced VIG.
Fez, have you ever seen Margin Call?
Oh, yeah. I love Margin Call.
Remember, he goes, we got to sell it all. And he goes, at what price? He goes, whatever it is, we got to pay. Well, I was going to pay regardless, but I like the 105. Okay, here's the rationale. Green Bay has lost 2 straight games coming into the playoffs, and they failed to cover in 2 straight games. Okay? Teams that have done that historically in our database are 12-3 against the spread. That has one qualifier. The other team, the opponent, had to win the last game and cover. So you got win and cover by the opponent. You got lose and cover 2 straight times by the main team. And that main team, Green Bay, is 12-3 against the spread. That's 5.5 points a game. 3 overs and 12 unders. That's 8 points to the under. So you're thinking a correlated parlay perhaps. No. If you actually look at it, it's the team that's 0-2. There's about 8 points of edge. 7 of it is for the defense of the team that's 0-2. And only 1 point is that they score less. So, so they just clamp down on D, and thus Philly under. It's a 12-3 by itself. If you just look at the team totals in the games, 12-3 to the under, and that's why I like. And one of the reasons, the main reason I like under Philly team total.
I wonder if maybe it's that they haven't been clamping down on defense because the games haven't been that important, Yeah. And now they come back to full intensity again. Like Green Bay didn't. Their defense did not. Scott, when you watched that game, did they look engaged to you against the Bears?
No.
Exactly. I mean, it was not an all-in effort.
But it's funny. I agree with you. We want to discount these games. But the history tells us that if you just put in first playoff game and you lost and didn't cover the last game, the last regular season game, it actually is meaningful. Mm-hmm. It's like 2.5 points.
Well, it's easier for the coaching staff to get after their team to, opportunities for improvement when they play poorly, Absolutely.
Yeah. So, but actually, just to be clear, it's when a team loses, it's typically bad. But if you lose 2 in a row, it actually, got good by like a major margin. Because again, if you really look at it, isn't this a surprising line? Like if you just look at the game line.
Well, I made it 3 when Scott and I made the lines.
And the question is Love's arm or shoulder.
That right? And the poor performance against the Bears. Mm-hmm. So you're getting an extra 1.5 in line value because of the stinker that Green Bay put up.
You're getting 30 cents.
Yeah.
And that's a lot.
That's absolutely.
So to me, I think the line can be explained. And if I had to play it, I'd play Green Bay. But hey, listen, why don't I just get rid of Love's shoulder? I don't care about it. I'm just going to care about, just so he doesn't throw pick sixes. I just care about the defense stopping Philly. So to me, I get to attack a game. I think there's value, but I get to attack it and avoid the injury risk that you have with Love.
And I like the fact that Philly has had great success of late with these crazy long drives. What was they had like a 12-minute drive to end the game?
10 or 11 minutes to end the game.
Yeah, so the natural reaction if they're ahead is, well, let's just duplicate that.
Milk the clock, yeah. So I have a 4-weight on this game, and it's on Josh Jacobs over 16.5 rushing attempts. I could actually go Barkley as well, but I'd rather do Jacobs. These are 2 teams that love to run the ball. Philly ranks first in run rate. The Packers are third in run rate. And we have 2 quarterbacks that are banged up. Jalen Hurts coming through concussion protocol and Jordan Love dealing with the elbow issue. The latest report that I heard on Jordan Love is that they closed the portion of practice to the media with him throwing. So they didn't want the media on Wednesday to see him throwing. They're still wondering if he can grip the football. I think there's going to be a lot of handoffs in this game. And with both quarterbacks banged up, Saquon Barkley's rushing attempts prop is at 20.5. Josh Jacobs is at 16.5. Barkley's average for the season has been around 19. It's been over 20.5 about 4 games this year. So his line is a little bit inflated. But Jacobs' average line, 16.8. There's been no change based on the situation. And the situation here calls for more running the football with your banged up quarterback. So I like.
Well, they're underdogs.
And Christian Watson, they lose a wide receiver to a torn ACL. They love to run the ball. They're going to run the ball more. I like Josh Jacobs over 16.5 rushing attempts.
I want to improve upon this. I want to play the rushing salami. So I know DraftKings oftentimes offers this. Can you see if DraftKings has a prop on total number of rushes, both teams, for the game?
All right.
Attempts, Fez, or yards?
Attempts. Because yards is a little bit iffy for success. If Scott's handicap is right and both teams are going to run the ball a lot, you win. Even if they're ineffective, you win automatically.
Well, I tell you this. Mackenzie said something. Scott just talked right over him, but Mackenzie was trying to say something I think is a good point. The Packers are more than a field goal underdog here. What I would like if I was betting and over rush yards for Jacobs is I would look to play a 2-teamer with Green Bay on the point spread, because if Green Bay's down 10, Love's just going to be throwing.
One good news is Green Bay is not certain, but likely to start with the ball. So that'll help keep them in the game, and they're less.
They've been taking the ball.
Yeah,
they take the ball more than everybody. But again, I'm not going over yardage. I'm going over rushing attempts. Mm-hmm. And Josh Jacobs is a guy that could get 6-7 attempts on just one possession.
You would agree game script is going to affect rushing attempts as much as or more than yards.
Sure, but despite how many losses and how many games, I guess I can look at the game logs of when they were losing, but they're still the number 3 running team in the NFL.
I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying RJ's right that it's correlated to the Packers.
Sure, and I'll look up how many times he ran in their losses this year.
And we should mention this is the biggest strength of schedule disparity, as RJ mentioned earlier. Fezzik mentioned earlier. Packers 6th hardest schedule, Eagles 3rd easiest. So historically, you're 67% betting the Packers in this spot. You have the number
32 and 12.
And I think Hurts, again, we don't have any idea. He hasn't played well. I don't know. Has he thrown well at all this year?
The game against Pittsburgh, that's it, right? When they were out to prove a mission to silence everybody that was talking crap about him.